Zipporah is a notable figure in the biblical narrative of the Old Testament, being recognized as the wife of Moses and the mother of his two sons, Gérson and Eliezer. Zipporah, the name that resonates with deep meaning in biblical stories, emerges as a figure as crucial as it is mysterious. She is much more than just the wife of Moses. She is a character who plays a fundamental role in the heroic journey of the leader who led the children of Israel to freedom. Her story is full of mystery, twists and turns, and a deep spiritual understanding that transcends the limits of conventional understanding. The story of Zipporah begins when Moses, the great leader chosen by God to lead the Israelites to freedom from Egyptian slavery, was fleeing Egypt. It was a turbulent time in Egypt, a land where the Hebrew people groaned under the cruel oppression of Pharaoh. Moses, an Egyptian prince, witnessed the brutality inflicted on his Hebrew brothers and, unable to bear the injustice, decided to act. Moses' actions, however, were not timid. He witnessed an Egyptian mistreating a Hebrew and, overcome by an impulse of justice, he intervened, ending up taking the oppressor's life. Believing his action had not been witnessed, Moses hoped that the secret of his heroic act would remain buried in the shadows. However, news of his courageous act reached the ears of other Hebrews. Later, while trying to mediate a conflict between two compatriots, Moses was accused of murder. The revelation of his violent past brought to light the consequences of his impulsive actions. Realizing that his life was in danger from Pharaoh's wrath, Moses made the difficult decision to flee Egypt. Thus, he abandoned his life as a prince, leaving behind his wealth and prestige, to seek refuge in the desert. The arid lands of Midian became his refuge, and it was there that the story of Moses intertwined with that of Zipporah, the daughter of the priest Jethro. He arrived in the land of Midian, a desert in Arabia, where the people descended from Abraham through Keturah, the wife Abraham took after Sarah's death, lived. Tired and thirsty, Moses arrived exhausted in the arid lands of Midian. Fate led him to a well, an oasis in the middle of the relentless desert. There, the daughters of the wise priest Jethro, beautiful as the stars in the sky, fetched water for the flock. However, the shadows of the desert were not just formed by the scorching sun. Cruel shepherds, overwhelmed by greed, tried to drive away the young shepherdesses. Moses' courageous heart could not bear the injustice before his eyes. He, the exiled prince, emerged as a defender of defenseless women. Moses' heroic act resounded in the desert. Zipporah's sisters, witnesses of her courage, returned home and poured the words like a song of hope into the ears of her father, Jethro. The wise priest, realizing Moses' nobility, did not hesitate to send his daughters back to the well, this time with a noble mission, to bring the brave stranger. Thus, in the arid lands of Midian, compassion and courage intertwined their destinies. Zipporah, whose name meant bird, a free and fearless soul in the vast desert, he found in Moses a protector and ally. Their relationship, forged in hot sand and challenging moments, blossomed like an oasis amid the aridity of the desert. Moses' journey was just beginning, but the seed of love planted in that well in Midian would grow into an epic story, where courage, compassion, and passion would defy the hardships of the desert and echo through the centuries as a testimony of a true and lasting love. In the heat of the desert of Midian, Zipporah, the enchanting daughter of Jethro, and Moses, the fugitive from Egypt, sealed their destiny in a marriage born of the heat of the desert and the burning compassion in their hearts. The life they built on the scorching sands was a testament to the power of love in the midst of adversity. Far from the palace intrigues and betrayals that haunted the Egyptian court, Moses and Zipporah faced together the challenges of the merciless desert and the uncertainty of nomadic life. Their tents were a refuge of peace and love in the vast and unpredictable desert. Zipporah and Moses had two sons, Gérson and Eliezer. The name Gérson is explained in the biblical text as a result of Moses' feeling of pilgrimage in a foreign land. On the other hand, Eleazar means God is help, a reference to the fact that God had delivered Moses from Pharaoh's sword. However, like sand dunes that move in the desert breeze, the Lord's call resonated in Moses' life. He was called upon to lead his people to liberation from Egypt, a journey permeated by miracles and challenges. For Zipporah, the woman who shared his life, the news brought with it the weight of separation. The farewell was difficult, but the love between Moses and Zipporah was as strong as the sun that burned on the desert horizon. She, courageous and resilient, not only endured separation, but also embraced Moses' divine mission. Zipporah, together with the children that their love generated, accompanied Moses on the divine journey, supporting him with faith and determination. Her presence at Moses' side was of fundamental importance, helping him on his dark and tortuous paths, like a guiding star shining in the midst of darkness. Zipporah, whose name echoes like a hymn of courage, played a crucial role in helping Moses' mission and redeeming the chosen people. In the tumultuous journey of Moses and Zipporah, among the dunes and under the starry desert sky, not every page of the book of their lives was filled with serenity. An enigmatic episode cast shadows over their relationship, like passing clouds in a clear sky. The pall of tension enveloped the couple when their son's circumcision became a point of disagreement. Zipporah, in her maternal concern, initially resisted this practice. The traditions and rituals of the desert were foreign to her, but her loving and understanding nature soon guided her to understand the importance of this act in fulfilling God's will. In the whirlwind of Moses' journey towards Egypt, when the fate of an entire nation hung in the balance, it was Zipporah, with courage and fearlessness, who offered herself as the guardian of Moses' life. While God's chosen leader was prepared to face his most critical mission, an extraordinary event occurred. It was a moment when God himself seemed to cast an ominous shadow over the man who was supposed to lead the children of Israel toward freedom. However, Zipporah did not bow before the imminent threat of the great I Am. In an act of unwavering courage, she took responsibility in her hands, like someone holding a thread of hope in the midst of darkness. When God somehow intended the death of Moses, Zipporah acted with the dexterity of a heroine infected by the idea of free the nation of Israel. With skillful hands, she circumcised her son, and the shed blood created a new covenant, becoming the key that unlocked the door of victory for Moses. It was an act of faith, devotion, and deep understanding of divine purpose. "Surely you are a husband of blood to me," declared Zipporah as the act unfolded before them. Thus, the blade of disagreement gave way to mutual understanding, further strengthening the couple's bonds. Thus, Zipporah emerged as the fearless voice that defied God himself, cut through the seeming wickedness of the moment, and in doing so paved the way for the liberation of an entire people. Her heroic intervention echoes through the centuries, reminding us that even in the darkest situations, determination and devotion can turn the course of history. The biblical narrative also sheds light on a chapter in which Moses, possibly guided by paternal concern and a loving husband, sent his family back to Midian. The storm of plagues sent by God upon Egypt seemed to be a time of imminent danger, and Moses, in his quest to protect Zipporah and her children, made this difficult decision. As Israel faced divine consequences in the Sinai desert, Jethro, the wise father-in-law, became the link that would bring the scattered family together. He brought Zipporah and her children back, restoring family unity in the hot winds of the desert. This chapter of separation and reunion added a unique complexity to the narrative, showing that even in moments of distance, love and family were anchors that never lost their strength. Thus, the story of Moses and Zipporah, shaped by moments of tension and sacrifice, became a tapestry rich in human experiences. Between the dunes and valleys of the desert, their love weathered storms and blossomed under the relentless sun, a true epic that transcended the limits of time and the desert. However, the burning dunes of the desert often hide not only treasures, but also storms that test the strength of the strongest bonds. In the saga of Moses and Zipporah, even the happiness achieved under the scorching sun did not escape challenges that hovered like dark clouds on the horizon. Miriam and Aaron, Moses' sister and brother, staged a surprising revolt, casting shadows over family harmony. The accusation echoed through the desert like a sandstorm, alleging that Moses had married a Cushite woman. The enigma surrounded this woman's identity, with some whispering that she could be Zipporah, while others speculated about the possibility of a second marriage after Zipporah's possible death. This episode of family intrigue cast a shadow over hard-won happiness. Loyalty and truth in the desert were questioned, like footprints disappearing in quicksand. Moses' mind, once focused on leadership and liberating his people, was momentarily clouded by the clouds of uncertainty. The accusation not only challenged Moses' integrity but also shook the foundations of his marriage to Zipporah. The Cushite woman, whoever she was, became the center of a family intrigue that reverberated through the tents in the desert. However, like the sun that eventually emerges after the storm, the truth began to reveal itself. The identity of the mysterious Cushite woman remained shrouded in mystery, but the trust and love between Moses and Zipporah, although tested, withstood the gale of doubt. Thus, the story of Moses and Zipporah, full of family challenges and unexpected accusations, resonates as an echo that, even in the desert of human relationships, the trust and true love can be the firm rock in the midst of passing storms. Zipporah was not just the wife of Moses, but an indomitable force who shaped the destinies of many. She embodies the idea that, in the most critical moments, love, courage, and understanding can overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. The story of Zipporah is a timeless lesson in how bold action and unbreakable faith can serve as lamps that light the way in the deepest darkness. Amid the arid sands of the desert and beneath the vast and merciless sky, the story of Zipporah and Moses unfolds as a singular epic poem. She, a woman of unshakable courage, and he, the one chosen by God to lead the children of Israel towards freedom. United in holy matrimony, they were tested by a challenge that surpassed the boundaries of love and devotion. After the wedding, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Zipporah, deeply understanding the magnitude of Moses' mission, made an extraordinary decision. She chose to separate herself from him, granting him the space he needed to fully concentrate on the divinely ordained task that awaited him. This choice, far from being a gesture of abandonment, was, in fact, a supreme act of support and sacrifice. While Moses left to lead his people, Zipporah retreated behind the scenes, making it clear that compliance with God's calling was an absolute priority. She understood that the grandeur of the mission was designed for her husband's total dedication. This separation was not a break in love, but rather an act of supreme love. It was the willingness to give up his physical presence so that Moses could unite more deeply and intimately with the Lord and with the cause for which he had been called. The story of Zipporah is a poignant reminder of how true love is not selfish, but rather selfless. Like the flame that burns in silence, it invites behind the scenes, nurturing the fire of Moses' mission. Voluntary separation from her sounds like a timeless echo of unconditional support and unwavering faith. In the barren desert of life, Zipporah and Moses are a testimony that sometimes the greatest act of love is to allow those we love to follow God's calling, even if it means our own absence. The story of Zipporah also mentions an intriguing episode. After meeting God on Mount Sinai and the mission to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses and his family returned to Midian. However, there is a passage in the book of Numbers, Numbers 12, in which Miriam and Aaron, Moses' sister and brother, criticize Moses for having married a Cushite or Ethiopian woman. Some scholars debate whether this woman was Zipporah or a second wife of Moses after Zipporah's death, but her identity remains uncertain. In short, Zipporah played an important role in Moses' life, supporting him on his journey as leader of the Israelites. She was the mother of his sons, Gérson and Eliezer, and her marriage to Moses is part of the story of the Israelites' liberation from Egypt and their journey towards the Promised Land. Her story is an example of how people not so recognized and remembered became biblical characters who played important roles in the events that shaped the history of the people of Israel. Love in the Desert Sands, the journey of Zipporah and Moses. Thus, we end this epic of love, courage, and faith in the heart of the desert. From the well where they met to the Exodus led by Moses, the story of Zipporah and Moses is an extraordinary testament to commitment and sacrifice. But now, as we contemplate this rich and complex narrative, we are confronted with questions that echo in the desert breezes. Is the love of Zipporah and Moses, forged under the scorching sun, a reflection of how our own lives can become epics of resilience and dedication? The complexity of relationships, the challenges faced, the difficult choices made in the name of love and faith, these are universal themes that transcend the sacred pages of the Bible. In our own journeys, amid the deserts we traverse, we can find inspiration in the courage of Moses, the compassion of Zipporah, and the faithfulness to the divine calling that shaped their lives. We would like to hear from you, our dear listener. How does the story of Zipporah and Moses resonate with your own journey? Leave your comments below, share your reflections, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring narratives and stories that will transcend time and borders. Remember, even in the deserts of life, where the hot sand seems to suffocate our steps, love and faith can flourish as oases of hope. The story of Zipporah and Moses is a reminder that, even in the most arid lands, the journey is one of triumphs over adversity and, above all, of the eternal power of love. Until the next journey.